I'll say it again, pound for pound, he's the most entertaining fighter in the sport, and I don't think it's close right now.
Hello and welcome back to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. This is episode 20. I am Matt Anderson. On the other side of your screen, you have Dorian Rose. Dorian, man, last night was a bummer, but how have you been over this past few weeks since we've recorded?
Been good. I thought last night was a really good card overall, so I really liked the performances on there. Of course, me and you were both pulling for Derek Lewis pretty hard, so sucks to see the way that he ended up losing. But fun night of fights overall. Been good. Had my nephew's little birthday party we went to earlier, so had some fun and ready to talk some fights, man. Glad to be back.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, as you said, like the fights were overall good, but me and you both are huge Derek Lewis fans. We just wanted to see the Black Beast get it done in Houston, but we'll get to it in just a second. Overall, let's just go down the results of the card real quick. As we all know, Ciryl Gane gets it done over Derek Lewis in the third round. Jose Aldo getting it done over Pedro Munoz, unanimous decision. Vicente Luque, we'll come back to it, but man, did he laid it out against Mike Chiesa there. Tisha Torres defeats Angela Hill, unanimous decision. Song Yadong defeats Casey Kenny, split decision. Rafael Fiziev, fight of the night for sure, against Bobby Green. Gets it done via unanimous decision. Vince Morales defeats Draco Rodriguez, unanimous decision. Alonzo Menifeld defeats Ed Herman via unanimous decision. Jessica Penne, oh man, I thought she was going to break Carolina's arm, but she gets it done via armbar. I think that was the first round too. Manel Cape hits O'Day Osborne with a flying knee that just it looked like he put his lights out, but I guess it didn't. There was some dispute there at the end. Miles Johns smoked Anderson Dos Santos like a Joe Rogan elk, dude. He was fucking out, dude. He was out cold. Melissa Gatto TKO Dr. Stoppage over Victoria Leonardo. She's just having a rough go in the octagon so far. She's just been put up with these killers so far. And then Johnny Munoz defeats Jamie Simmons. Jesus, I cannot get that out. The second round rear naked choke. So those are your results overall. That is what happened for the night. If you didn't watch it, I'm sure everyone has at this point. But let's talk about the main event real quick, Dorian. Ciryl Gane versus Derek Lewis. I feel like what happened was overall expected. Ciryl Gane was a huge favorite. We all knew that this dude is a different type of heavyweight, but we also know that Derek Lewis has that one shot, that one touch, those nuclear fists in both hands that could knock anyone clean out. And we were just all hoping and putting our money down that Derek Lewis was going to get it done, especially in Houston in front of the hometown crowd. I feel like all of America was rooting for him. I didn't speak to many people that were like, yeah, I'm rooting for Ciryl Gane. Everyone was like, let's go Black Beast. In the end, man, I don't think Derek Lewis would have beat him on any night of the week, dude. Ciryl Gane is just so composed, so patient, doesn't let anything affect him. He doesn't care about the crowd, anything like that. He doesn't make mistakes. And even though he's not the most exciting man in the world, I feel like when the time comes, he knows when the time is to just finish it, dude. So that's just kind of my main takeaways from the fight. What are your main takeaways from the fight, before we just get started too much on what's next for the future?
Well, I would think in a sense that I know you said that you thought the fight played out in the way that we thought. A lot of people did think that Ciryl Gane was going to win the fight, but I don't think a lot of people expected the finish in that situation. And Derek Lewis has been finished before, so it's not to say that he's never been finished, but he's hard to put away. And especially with the way that Cyril Gane was kind of controlling the fight, you would have never thought that he would have kind of put his foot on the gas to try to push for the finish at that moment. But he just controlled the distance just right from the jump. And the thing about Cyril Gane is that the dude just doesn't make mistakes. Like, you never catch him in a bad moment. I think in the Volkov fight, Volkov kind of tagged him up a little bit. But, I mean, nothing too substantial that,
He has a
whenever Cyril
massive
Gane
reach, though. Like his
yeah.
arms are huge,
Well,
so it makes sense.
well, and Cyril Gane too. His thing is he takes punches, but he doesn't take like the full brunt of the punch. Like he has good enough defense to where he's either just at a range to where the punch kind of barely taps him, or he's in really close, so he smothers the punch, so you don't have enough room to land that big shot as well. And I think that's what he really did to Derek Lewis the whole night, was just control the octagon, was landing some kicks, those oblique kicks similar to the John Jones kicks, and then landing those leg kicks, and you could see that it was taking a toll on Derek Lewis there. And I think Derek Lewis is getting frustrated because he was never able to close the range and find that big right hand. I thought one of the interesting things about the fight, I guess kind of like a cool sense, was every time Derek would wind up with the right hand, the crowd was just, you can hear it. It was a lit fuse, and they were ready to explode as soon as Derek landed the right hand. You could see every time he leaned in with it, the crowd just started going bananas, or they were ready to go bananas for Derek landing the right hand, but Cyril Gane just never gave him that moment. And I just think that, that last leg kick when he landed, you could see just the pain in Derek Lewis's face when he landed it. And I just thought from there on out, it was similar finish to Dustin and Connor too, when Dustin had just teed off on Connor's leg for so long that Connor just couldn't move anymore. And I thought Cyril Gane did a similar performance as far as, damaging the legs, not taking a lot of damage. And once he seeked the opportunity to get that finish, he took full advantage. And I think Dan Mergliotta, I think he gave Derek Lewis every bit of chance to fight back into that fight. And Cyril Gane just put the pressure on him, and he was just too much for him in the end. So I just thought that was a really good fight for Cyril Gane. He honestly couldn't have looked any better. It was a complete masterclass, just like he said he was going to put on.
I agree. Yeah, it's just like, man, I just feel for Derek Lewis, man. Like everyone wanted him to win, and it's like he only had that one shot. And man, overall, what did he land? Like eight punches the entire fight, or like or something
I think
like that.
I think because I heard Dana White in the post-fight press conference, I think they had mentioned the stat. I think Derek Lewis total strikes, because he had landed some kicks, I think he landed 16, and Cyril Gane landed 104. So
Man,
just the complete domination from pillar to post, man. I mean, it's just super impressive the way he was able to do that.
Yeah, it's just, man, I just wanted Derek Lewis to win so bad,
Yeah,
like,
and it was kind of like it was his shining moment. It was his moment because he was in front of his home crowd, and he got that chance against DC, but the title shot that he had against DC, it was like super short notice, and Derek had just had that really bad fight with Volkov right before he got into the DC fight, so there was kind of circumstances built against him to where you can give him kind of like that Jorge Masvidal backdoor excuse for Jorge took the fight on short notice, similar to Derek Lewis, but with this fight, he had the time to prepare. People knew it was going to be in front of his hometown. And just for him to come out and just have the performance that he did, I mean, you got to credit Cyril Gane for putting that pressure on Derek Lewis, but it was just super disappointing. Me being a big Derek Lewis fan, always rooted for the guy. I've always told my wife, regardless, he's one of the most entertaining fighters, and I love watching the dude fight. Whether he puts on a kind of like a slow performance or not, he's always been super exciting, and it was super disappointing to see him lose. But it just shows how good that Cyril Gane really is.
It was like almost like kind of Derek Lewis just had trouble just finding range, getting started. Like it was almost like he didn't even have an opportunity to like throw anything good, just because Cyril Gane is just a technician, dude. He's just flawless. Like I don't. I don't even know how else to say it. So I mean, maybe like one or two moments like where like Derek was close enough like to hit him, and then he would swing, but man, Cyril's got a good head movement. He like blocked well. The dude is definitely a problem for Francis. Like, he's like the only one that I'm like, oh shit, like this guy might actually be a test like for Francis. So let's kind of go there, I guess. What do you think's next like for Derek Lewis before we get started on Cyril Gane here?
I mean, Derek Lewis. I mean, I don't want to say that it's all over for him and things like that. Now, as far as like a title shot, I think that probably will be, especially with the way that the heavyweight division is starting to shake up. We're starting to get a little bit more fresh faces in the division now. So I do think, as far as title aspirations, he's probably not going to get that opportunity anymore. But Derek Lewis is always a consistently exciting fighter, win or lose. So he always, impresses on the mic, impresses with his knockouts. I believe he has the most knockouts in UFC heavyweight history. So, just for him as a fighter, I don't think his stock really dropped that much at all. But yeah, I think for Derek Lewis, I mean, you could put him in a fight against anybody. I mean, Volkov, maybe again. I mean, I don't know, maybe Chris Dawkins. He's coming up looking for,
Give him the Greg Hardy fight that he's been wanting.
But he hasn't seemed like he's been wanting the Greg Hardy fight as much here lately. I know the last couple of times he was asked, he never really. I know he chased it early when Greg Hardy was in the UFC, but I think after Greg Hardy had a few losses, it's kind of like, Derek Lewis is the top 5 contender in the heavyweight division. What is Greg Hardy really doing? So I can understand why Derek Lewis wouldn't want to take that fight, but you can match him up against anybody, any of the older guys, maybe like Stipe or something like that. I'd be fine with him getting matched up against anybody. I'd just be excited to see him get back in there.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, so let's go to the other guy real quick. We know what's next. Cyril versus Francis should be like next. He just won the interim title. Francis is the champion. But before we get there, let me ask you a question that I've been debating to myself ever since last night. Is he a boring fighter? What do you think?
I don't want to say boring.
Tough question,
because,
right? Like you're like,
well,
man, because you just look at the entire Jairzinho fight. It's like, man, like the entire Volkov fight. You're like, damn, dude, are you gonna do anything?
I told you during the Rosenstrike and Gane fight that I blamed Rosenstrike 100% on that because he just acted like he didn't want to do anything. So he had a similar performance that Derek Lewis did, except Derek Lewis ended up getting his leg crushed and getting finished. But they both had similar performances in that neither one of the guys threw that much against them. So I think just watching Gane over his last few fights more and more, you can say that he's a boring fighter. His results could potentially be boring, but he is the reason why his opponents are fighting the way that they are because he's not doing anything to put himself in any danger. He's just not going to do it. And I know the comparison was made that he's like a heavyweight Robert Whittaker, the way he bounces in and out, and he has he can switch his stances. He's in and out real quick. He has really good leg kicks from both sides, really good jab. So I think for him, I think he's technical, but I don't want to call him a boring fighter because he's capable of finishes, as you've seen. He put on he was one of the first heavyweights to get a heel hook. I know there's been heel hooks done in the heavyweight division before, but here as of recently, and I think he's kind of like the DC said it perfectly at the end of the fight last night. I think he's just the new evolution of what heavyweight fighters are going to start looking like. I don't think maybe start looking like because I think he's kind of one of his own. He's one of a kind. But as far as him being a boring fighter, I'll call him technical. But the dude's definitely capable of getting finishes, so I don't want to disrespect him in any way by calling him a boring fighter because he makes his opponents freeze.
Man, for me, it's tough because as a fan, like heavyweight, you just want to see them go out there and just slug it out for the most part. You just want to see someone swing until someone falls down as heavyweights. He's so patient and he makes literally zero mistakes when he fights. if a person called him like a boring fighter, I don't know if I could disagree with them, because he has definitely had a lot of boring moments, but at the same time, he does have the finishes. So it's like I I wouldn't bet on any of his like fights to be like a finish, if you will. Like, so it's like he's a hard fighter. How about this? I'm going to put it this way. If he wins like the championship, the UFC does not have a draw on their hands. He is not a person that I'm going to be throwing tons of money at every pay-per-view I like to see. Francis, on the other hand, the dude, I have to see the dude fight. You never know what's going to happen with the Francis fight. Someone's head might get knocked into the third row. But with this guy, it's like, are you going to pay for him to just bounce right in the middle of the cage for 5 rounds? It's like, as a fan, he doesn't do it for me. The dude is great, a fantastic heavyweight, but definitely, in my opinion, not a draw. No way.
Yeah, I do think that's going to be a big thing with him moving forward, especially if he is able to get the championship from Ngannou, is that he's going to get the stain of,
It's definitely
not a
possible
fun
with the way
fighter.
that he fights. It's definitely possible that he can beat Francis, but it's like,
So let me ask you this: with you saying that, a lot of the talk that I've been hearing is the betting line for what it would be if the matchmaking is official for Cyril Gane versus Francis Ngannou. So I just want to ask you, if you were able to place a bet on that fight today, Cyril Gane versus Francis Ngannou, who do you think is going to be the favorite?
I would have to say Gane, man. I would have to. It's like,
Do you think it's recency bias though?
no, because the dude just doesn't get hit. Like, and I gotta be honest, Francis isn't the cleanest striker in the world either. So it's like, it's almost like all Gon has to do is pretty much like all of his other fights: stay at distance, teep kick, leg kick, jab, all 5 rounds, and it seems to work. No one can get close to him. Anytime they are, it's just like, here comes one, Gon hops back. Here comes one step, Gon hops back. It's like his distance management is impeccable. That, like, I don't think anyone's even getting close enough to like hit the guy. And that's why it has so many factors to be boring, because it's like, if he doesn't want to, I doubt it's going to happen, and he's going to be in control of that whole fight. When he loses, it'll be like because a person took him out of comfort zone. Like, his just distance management is just too good.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And the shifty thing with him is, like how you said, when someone moves in, he's constantly stepping back. Or if someone charges in, one of the things that he does is that he slides into the clinch, clinches him long enough to where he can push off, get the separation, and then he's back at range again. The guy just doesn't make any mistakes, and I do think that's going to be a problem for Francis. But I do think the training background with both of them, both training under the same gym for a certain period of time before Francis and Ngannou decided to uproot himself into Vegas for his training. So I do think that it's going to be an interesting storyline for them when that fight ever gets officially made. So definitely going to look forward to seeing that fight made, and seeing who can come out on top in that.
What do you think the odds open at?
Man, because I'm so back and forth, because I want to say the guy's going to be the favorite because he's the most technical fighter, but I do think Francis at this point is the most complete version of himself, because I do think his striking, although you can say that he's a little bit sloppy, you can go back to the Rosenstrike fight where he just bum rushed him with a bunch of hooks until he landed. But if you go back in that Stipe fight, like, he was very patient, landing jabs, landing leg kicks, and was just waiting until they found the opening. He lands one shot and it's over. So if I had to guess, it would probably be slightly towards Gunn, probably like minus 120 range. I'd say probably starting out. And then who knows where the betting lines will go from there in terms of the public going on Francis. I'd imagine Francis being an underdog, he's going to get pretty good love.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I say opening up, it has like maybe minus 150 Gone, maybe like plus 175 Francis, like something like that. Like, not in the 200s. It's going to be a fairly matched, close fight, at least when they open. Maybe once training videos start leaking and everything like that, I'm sure odds are going to change like a little bit. So it's the next fight. I don't really want to talk too much about how you think it's going to go because really we don't fucking know.
We'll have a lot of time. We'll have a lot of time to talk about it too. I mean, the fight hasn't even been made official yet, so we'll have time to, once everything gets digested as far as the videos, them training and things like that come out, and then we get to see, how they look building up into the fight. We have plenty of time as far as who we think is going to win when they do fight, but I'll be excited when that fight gets officially announced.
Fair enough. All right, so let's go down to the co-main event. Jose Aldo defeats Pedro Munoz, third round decision. Man, I don't really want to say too much about this personally, but Aldo came in with a super boxing heavy approach again. This is third fight doing that. And it's almost like he barely throws any more kicks. It's almost like he's priming himself for the transfer to boxing after his UFC contract's up, dude. I don't know like what he's doing. He used to throw the most disgusting leg kicks ever, and then he just kind of just leaned off of as he went down to 135. I don't know if he's just not as confident. Who knows? But anyway, he gets it done over Pedro Munoz pretty much cleanly. All 3 rounds, good fight, but you just saw it. Aldo just putting on him just a masterclass over Munoz, just staying in range, picking him apart, clean, crisp hands, and it's almost like Munoz just couldn't really hit him. Like for the most part, like he would get him like with these light shots, but he couldn't really get him like really good, and that's where Jose Aldo just shined because he would at the end of the fight he was just hitting him with these clean like 3-4 piece combos, and then just the body hooks there too at the end, just crushing body hooks. But what all you got to say about this one, man?
I think as far as Aldo, it just goes to show, just how great he really is. For him to, I think they said he made his debut in October of 2004. Dude, he has been fighting professionally since October of 2004. He's been fighting 17 years, and he's 34 years old.
I know.
He's 34. So it's like, dude,
Francis is older than Jose Aldo.
As battle tested as he is, he's fought, McGregor, he's fought Max twice, he's fought Volkanovski. Just for him, it just goes to show like how much he's just getting more mature in his performances now. He used to be a guy that would go out and go all out for the kill, but you can see he's a little bit more reserved in his approach now. But he definitely, with the boxing heavy approach, I do see what you're talking about with the less on the kicks, but I think that Aldo really replaced his leg kicks with the body hooks because he was absolutely crushing Pedro Munoz every time he would step in. And I do think that he won the fight cleanly all 3 rounds. It wasn't a blowout by any means. I thought Pedro Munoz was in the fight. I thought what he kept messing up on was he kept throwing the spinning heel kick, and he was nowhere close to landing the kick. And it was just like Aldo was literally watching him throw it, step back, and then step back in the range and was crushing him with his boxing. So Aldo's really showing that he's able to keep making this cut down to 135 and look good in his performances. So it was a really good fight by him.
Yeah, just those like heel kicks were nowhere near, like as you said. It's just like, and it's like he was dead tired. He was like, let me try to wing this up here. Like, what is that even? What are you even doing at that point?
I mean, he was He was landing some good hooks there a little bit. And his problem was, I think, similar to Derek Lewis. He couldn't really get into the range of Aldo. And I was telling my wife when I was watching the fight last night, I did not realize how much bigger Jose Aldo was than Pedro Munoz. Like, just looking at him standing side by side with one another, you could definitely see the size difference. And he just looked like he was kind of towering over Pedro Munoz. So I think that size advantage has a lot to, help Aldo with down at 135, and excited to see what matchups they can make for him going into the future as well.
Yeah. Who do I want to see Jose Aldo fight?
He was calling for TJ Dillashaw. So I would love that fight, but I do think TJ probably has his eyes on the title shot. Man, I wouldn't mind seeing Jose Aldo against Rob Font. That would be a really good fight. Both guys are on a winning streak, and both guys have a similar base game in terms of their boxing. Rob Font's looking for that big name. Jose Aldo is coming off of 2 big wins in a row at 135. So I think if anybody, I think what is Rob Font, number 4 in the division, if I'm recalling off the top of my head. Yeah. So, and Aldo's number 5. And I know that Rob Font's looking for a fight that's going to either, he wants to be in a title fight, or he wants a fight that's going to get him one step closer. And I think with Aldo coming off the momentum that he has plus the name, if he's able to get a name like that on his resume, that could push him forward. And maybe same thing with Jose Aldo. Maybe that could push him back into a title fight. So I think that would be a good fight for him for the UFC to make with him.
Fair enough. So let's move down to one of your favorite fighters, the Silent Assassin. Gets it done via Darce choke over Michael Chiesa. Man, I don't think anyone thought that Vicente Luque was going to choke out Michael Chiesa. Like you may have bet finish, but everyone kind of thought, well, if he finishes him, he's probably going to knock him out. Man, this ended in the first round, and it looked like it was going Chiesa's way. Like, it almost looked like if he was just patient and just stayed there, stayed calm, he probably would have got it. But I feel like he just wanted to finish that fight so quick. Vicente Luque was game. He was ready for it. End up hitting him with the Uno reverse card, putting him in a Darce choke, and then the rest is history, dude. What do you got to say about this one?
I was really excited about this fight going in because Michael Chiesa, he's been showing himself very well at 170, and it is just amazing to look at him and to ever think how on God's green earth that he make 155. Like, he towers over welterweight. So it's crazy to think that he was ever able to shrink himself down and make 155. So, and Vicente Luque, of course, coming in off of a pretty good win streak of his own, having all the finishes that he has. I believe they said in now since last night, 21 pro wins and 19 number finishes. The guy is just an absolute killer. I mean, and for me personally, I mean, I think he's pound for pound the most entertaining fighter in the game. I mean, the guy, nobody goes for the finish the way that he does, and whether it's going to be a submission, whether it's going to be knocking him out. I thought Chiesa was frustrating him there early in the fight because Chiesa had a lot of good movement back and forth. A lot of people assumed going into the fight that Chiesa was kind of going to zombie his way into Luque and get some takedowns, and he switched it up a little bit and was dancing around on the outside.
Too.
What's that?
Like, he hit him with a clean one too, like, and then all of a sudden,
he did. Like, he dotted Luque up pretty good. I think he threw Luque off because I think Luque was expecting a little bit more of a wrestling heavy approach earlier on, and Chiesa kind of switching it up with the boxing a little bit, trying to set up the takedown. And as soon as Luque was getting a little bit frustrated, he goes to charge in, and Chiesa set up the takedown perfectly to get him down, and he actually took him down pretty easy, but. Luque does have some really good jiu-jitsu. Chiesa got on his back a couple of times and tried to sink in the choke. It looked like he wasn't really officially under the neck, but he had a couple of good neck cranks in there. But Luque was able to weather the storm, get back up on his feet, and press Chiesa up against the cage. And as soon as he got his arms around that neck, you could see him snap in that Darce immediately. And when he snaps down and rolls over like that, there's not many people who's going to be able to get out of that hold. I mean, you can see Chiesa, he was rolling his hips back up, trying to roll into No, you're good. And yeah, he was trying to roll his hips back into Luque so he could try to avoid the submission, but Luque was able to kick him back out and keep that Darce locked in. And I think they said that Vicente Luque now has 4 Darce subs in the UFC, which makes it the most in the history of the company. So for Vicente Luque to be able to do that against a guy like Michael Chiesa, I mean, it just goes to show that the guy's just an absolute killer, and he can get it done in any way. And again, I'll say it again, pound for pound, he's the most entertaining fighter in the sport, and I don't think it's close right now.
Come on, man, don't do Francis like that.
I just mean in terms of you just never know where the fight's going to go. I mean, Vicente Luque can get the submission, he can get the striking. I mean, we know how potent of a striker he is, and then just for him to complement his game with the submissions as well with his jiu-jitsu. I mean, I can make an argument for Justin Gaethje as well, but I just mean in terms of the complete finishes that Vicente Luque can do. Nobody's doing it on his level right now with the subs and the knockouts. So for me, he's definitely one of those guys. I have to be around a TV, my phone, whatever I have to be around some type of device to watch that dude fight because he's all action all the time.
I'm going to probably matchmake for the UFC real quick for just a second, and you're going to love it, Dorian. You're going to love it. This is going to be your favorite thing on earth. I want to see Vicente Luque versus Leon Edwards next. I feel like that's the fight. Fight for who's next after Colby versus Usman. Fight for who's next. This I believe like Luque is just right there. He's a great fighter, proven himself, super exciting, all the finishes. And man, you're always saying how Leon Edwards needs to get this next title shot. Leon Edwards needs to get this next title shot. I want to see them two fight each other, and the winner gets the next title shot.
Well, and although it was a few years ago, Leon Edwards and Vicente Luque did fight. Leon Edwards is actually able to get a decision win off of him. He kind of made it like a slower paced, kind of a wrestling heavy approach. I don't know what's official because, of course, it's not like we're in UFC circles, but I do see a lot of the rumors of they think that they're going to put Leon either against Jorge or Gilbert Burns because Gilbert Burns really wants that fight against Leon Edwards. And I know that Leon has been calling for the Masvidal fight here as of late on Twitter and stuff. So I think that, Vicente Luque, I think he can fight any of those guys. I think, of course, he's not going to fight Gilbert Burns because that's his training partner, but I think Leon Edwards or Jorge Masvidal. I think you can put him in there with either or. I know he called out Nate Diaz after the fight. I just don't see Nate Diaz isn't going to. I mean, it surprises to see him take the Leon Edwards fight. So I guess anything is possible, but just like as mild-mannered and respectful as Vicente Luque is, I don't see, even though he's a super entertaining fighter and the dude has a hell of a record, I don't see Nate Diaz really getting up for that fight too much. So I think you can match him up either against Jorge or Leon Edwards, and I think that either of those fights would be super entertaining, and you can make the argument for whoever wins that fight. Maybe not Jorge would get a title shot, but especially if Luque was to be able to win and to get a name like Masvidal on his resume as well, you can make the argument that he's ready for a title shot, and it's a fresh matchup because Usman hasn't faced him yet either.
All good fights. All right. So moving down the card, Angie Hill versus Tisha Torres. Man, I was rooting for Angie Hill. I wanted Angie to get it done, but man, Tisha Torres, just as her name says, she's a tiny tornado, dude. Just doesn't stop. The pressure comes nonstop. It's almost like she doesn't get tired either. Anything here or just overall? She got pretty much 30-27 on 2 scorecards there.
Yeah, Angela Hill put in a good effort, and you can see that, she really wanted that win back against Tisha Torres from a few years ago. But one thing I'll give Tisha Torres credit for is that just because she's super small doesn't mean that she's not strong. Every time Angela Hill tried to take her down, she was either able to get right back up or was able to frame herself to where Angela Hill had nothing for the takedown. So I thought Tisha Torres was able to put on kind of a complete performance, and she was much quicker than Angela Hill. and she was able to get a few takedowns of her own. I just thought that she had a really complete performance, implementing her kicks really well. She landed a couple of head kicks against Angela Hill there in the fight. She was able to land a couple nice 1-2s, and she had a really good performance. So, yeah, I mean, nothing too much other than really good performance by Tisha Torres, and that kind of, she had that 4-fight losing streak a couple of years ago where some people thought she was going to get cut from the UFC. So it's crazy to see her go from a 4-fight losing streak to, I believe she's on the 3-fight winning streak now. So crazy to see her kind of bounce back from how low she was at one point. But she's just showing that she's still one of the top contenders in the strawweight division.
All right, so Song Yadong getting it done via split decision over Casey Kenny, dude. I didn't think this should be split decision. I thought clear 30-27 Song, but it's the Texas Commission. The Texas Commission is like, come on, young man, go beat China for the USA as your glove falls in the background. But
it always falls,
dude. Texas Commission, dude. I feel like you can never really trust the judging there, and it's like, what's going on there? As Dorian's screen gets so blurry, what's happening now? As the screen's trying to get the focus. Anyway, you just gotta. Do you have to like touch it or something like that so it'll focus?
I think I accidentally kicked it.
As though he's trying to get his camera back. Anyway, Song Yadong gets it done via split decision over Casey Kenny. We'll go down and talk about Rafael Fiziev versus Bobby Green. I was heavy that, dude, your camera's still blurry. I don't know what.
Oh, is it really? Oh my gosh!
Like it has to just like focus or something like that. Anyway, so Bobby Green versus Rafael Fiziev. I was super heavy that Fiziev was going to get the finish on Bobby Green. Man, it's just like Bobby Green comes in, fights with his hands down. Fiziev is a lethal striker. The 2 times that you have seen Bobby Green get knocked out, it was against these lethal strikers, Edson Barboza, Dustin Poirier, people like that. It's much better now, by the way.
Yeah, I tried to fix it like that. So nice.
It's just he's so much better than how do I say this? He's a much better striker than Bobby Green, but Bobby Green just tough overall, showing that he has a chin. Fiziev could not get him out of there, but I thought it was pretty dominant, 30-27 overall. Fiziev beat the brakes off him, leg kicked him so much.
You thought it was 30-27?
I thought it was 30-27.
Did you watch the third round? Did you watch the third round?
I watched the third round.
Did you watch the third round?
Wasn't
Come on,
like,
dude.
It wasn't like he was about to knock him out.
He wasn't. He literally doubled him up on strikes. He landed like 85. Yes, dude. There's no. You're not. For 30-27, I don't care. Fiziev won the fight. Yes, he did not win 30-27.
Not 30-27.
He was getting tuned up in that third round.
I don't know why I'm saying 30-27. Anyway, what the fuck? He won 2 of the rounds. Third round, he was outstruck in the third round, but I don't think it was it wasn't like he was going to get like fucking knocked out or anything like that. So, Bobby Green's tough. The leg kicks were ruthless. I wanted him to get him out of there. He ended up not getting him out of there. What did you think happened here, man? Let's hear you.
I know.
Oh, Bobby Green. Let's hear you.
Hey, well, dude, I was trying to tell you that Bobby Green is no chump because you kept telling me, man, Fiziev was going to smoke him and blah, blah, blah. And I told you that Bobby Green, I'm not saying that he's going to win the fight, but the dude is absolutely game. And I do think, yes, he did get a 30-27, and I'm telling you, said it was a clear 30-27. It was not a clear 30-27. That is my argument. He was getting tuned up in that third round.
He got a 30-27 on the scorecards.
He got a 30-27 due to the Texas Commission, as you were just stating.
So when I
that was not a 30-27.
So when I check the score, I fucking look down. I look at the first scorecard. I just looked down and I saw 30-27, and then I looked
Yeah,
up. So
no, no.
I'm just reading this shit, and you're like trying to be like, no way, I cannot believe you just said that. I was just
Because you were
reading
just saying
it.
something about the Texas. You were saying something about the Texas Commission
But I
earlier,
was
so
just
I'm saying
reading
yes.
off the scorecard. That's what I was reading the scorecard,
You
and
said
you're
it
like,
was a clear 30-27. If you listen back to it, you're going to listen to yourself say it was a clear 30-27. It was not a clear
well,
30-27. That's my argument.
luckily enough, no one's gonna watch this anyway. All fucking 38 people are gonna watch this. Say if they are. It doesn't matter. Who cares anyway?
This is for us, okay? And since this is for us, no, I do not agree that that was a 30-27. That was an awful decision, but it was definitely fight of the night. I told you that Bobby Green is absolutely game. He's not one of those dudes that you're going to have an easy night out of the office with. And I thought that Fiziev starting that fight, he was starting super hot with those kicks. He had a lot of good foot movement. He wasn't giving Bobby Green, too much to work with as far as, being a standing target. But you could see as the fight was starting to wear on, you could see Fiziev, his movement and stuff was starting to slow down just a little bit. And you could see he was landing big shots on Bobby Green. He was landing good elbows when they got out of the clinch of one another. He was landing those big left hooks, similar to the one that he landed on Moicano that he knocked him out with. And for Bobby Green to stand in there, I mean, he stood his ground, and they're in that third round. Man, I'll say it like this: if that fight was 5 rounds, I don't know how well that goes for Fiziev going into those last 2 rounds because he definitely lost that third round. He got doubled up on in strikes. I thought that Bobby Green, it was almost like he waited for the third round to put on like a last minute effort to maybe steal the decision in the judges' minds. So I thought I think the strike counts are pretty close in the first and second round, but Fiziev obviously outstruck him in the first 2 rounds. And he put on a pretty good performance, but there in the third round, he started to wear down, and Bobby Green was having none of it, walking him down, doing similar to the Max Holloway, pointing down to the ground, telling them to stand in front of him and bang. And man, they put on an absolute fight of the night, arguably one of the fights of the year. I mean, I just walked into my house from work and I made sure that I turned on my TV so I could catch that fight, and that fight absolutely delivered. I know Dana White had that on his "If You Don't Know Now You Know" segments that he does on social media every now and then. The fight lived up to expectations and then some, and good performance by both guys. And excited to see what they can do with Fiziev and 155 going into the future.
He's definitely one of my favorite fighters to watch. If you look back to, I don't know, when was it? Maybe our second episode of this, I was like, Rafael Fiziev, I cannot wait to watch this. I like to watch this dude fight again, and here he was getting fight of the night, going up against Bobby Green later on in the year. So that being said, Vince Morales defeats Draco Rodriguez, unanimous decision. That was a close fight overall. I don't know if you were able to see that one. Alonzo Minifield getting it done over Ed Herman, dude. Ed Herman is so damn tough. He got leg kicked a million times. I had a bet this going over a round and a half, and thank goodness Ed Herman is tough because Jesus Christ, dude, it was bananas how much damage Ed Herman took. Moving down, Jessica Penne defeats Karolina Kowalkiewicz via armbar, dude. I thought this was probably the steal of the card in my opinion. Karolina loves to grapple. She loves to hold chicks against the fence. Jessica Penne is I don't want to say this in a bad way. She's almost like the Aljamain Sterling of that division. She looks for the back at all times. She's lethal. She's looking for the choke. She's trying to tap you out by any means necessary. And I just thought it played in perfectly to her game plan, what Karolina loves to do. And she showed it, dude. She jumped right on there. And by that point, she had attacked 4 or 5 subs. She was getting her out of there. I cashed out on a plus 600 via Penne sub there. So not bad. Anything on either one of those three, or I'm not sure how much you saw of those three.
Well, I did see the Jessica Panay finish, my main takeaway from that is what a fall from grace Carolina has had, man. You know, she was once a title contender in that division, and you know she didn't beat Joanna by any chance. No one's going to say that she should have won that fight, but she put on a pretty good performance against her. So a lot of people thought that going into the future that she was going to continue being a top contender, and it seems like ever since then, and that bad Andrade knockout that she had, she just had like this really sudden fall from grace to where she just hasn't been able to put it together in the win column. You know, she's been getting beat up real bad her last couple of fights, and for Jessica Penne, for her to come back in off what she had like a 2-3 year suspension, something like that. And she's came back and put together a couple wins, so it's been pretty good to see her put together some wins, and it's just crazy to see Ed Herman is still fighting, dude. I think they said he was on the season 3 of the Ultimate Fighter,
I
and
think
this dude's
season
still
4 or
hanging around
something
today.
like that. Yeah, just
Yeah,
super
yeah,
old.
one of the very first seasons of the Ultimate Fighter, and this dude's still hanging around and you know fighting some of the toughest guys in the division. And he's fighting at 205 when he's originally a 185er. So just crazy to see that he's still out there putting on gutsy performances. But
He
yeah,
reminds
Alonzo
me of
Benefield shut him
Stipe
out.
so much. I don't know why, if it's the hairstyle, but him and Stipe, I feel like they just look
They had
alike.
the
I don't know
same.
what it is.
They had they had the same like stone face. So they're just
Yeah.
kind of like just like a blatant stare. So yeah, I can see in that sense how you think they look alike. My wife actually mixes Stipe before Stipe grew out his hair. Well, actually, since he's grew out his hair even more so, my wife has always mixed up Stipe and Michael Bisping. So that's one that she
Dude,
mixes up all the time.
if there's a few fighters that I kind of mix up, it's Rob Font and Dan Ige. I just mix up those all the time. Um, Sean Strickland. What's the dude that never fights? The Tom Breeze
Tom Breeze.
and
Yeah, I knew as soon as you said it, I knew who you were talking about.
I'm not maybe one other dude there too. Like I just feel like they all look like they're English fighters. They all look like a young Michael Bisping with just a shaved head. Like they embodiment. They embodied what an English fighter like looks like. I don't know like what it is. Like I just feel like every time I hear Sean Strickland fight, you're just like, oh, I expected you to have an English accent, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, he
so
does kind of have like that same stone face. Similar.
yes. So the night actually started off with 4 finishes. Johnny Munoz defeats Jamie Simmons rear naked choke. Melissa Gatto stops Victoria Leonardo, Dr. Stoppage. Miles Johns smoked Anderson Dos Santos, and Manel Cape hit Ode Osborne with a flying knee. Manel Cape came into this fight overweight after losing his last two, dude. I don't know if it was almost like a tactic, like, hey, like whatever happens, happens. I'm just gonna throw it all out there on the line. What do you like think the thought process was there? Was it on accident, or did he truly was just like, whatever?
Well, I mean, from what I've heard some people say that Cap does have a hard time making 125. I know they said I guess he's got a lot of muscle mass as far as cutting down into the division. I don't want to speculate one way or the other in terms of what his mindset was going into the weight cut. I mean, I'd give him the benefit of the doubt in this sense, considering that you know he made weight the first 2 times fine. I would just give him the benefit of the doubt to saying that he just had a bad weight cut this time around, and maybe he just didn't get to as far as you know. Maybe he ate too many burgers or something like that. I have no idea as far as what went into his regimen as far as cutting weight, but I don't think it was anything intentional. Just something that fighters do stumble upon. I think he missed weight by 2-3 pounds, so
He
nothing.
weighed
It's
in
not like he
129 for 145. I mean, for 125.
Yeah, so that is a little bit. That's a little bit more than what the normal is for as far as missing weight. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's not doing that intentional. I just think that he just landed a good knee, and that was the end of the fight. It was beautifully timed. Ode Osborne was walking forward, and as soon as he walked forward, the dude was super explosive, and he took advantage of it and clipped him.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, for me personally, just after seeing like his past 2 fights and how he's acting like he's just destroying the guy in the cage when you really just look like a clown because you're just dancing around.
He drives me crazy watching him. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, he does.
Like,
And
to see him
I didn't feel good about the win that he got. I'll say that I didn't feel good about it.
Like, from going to watching him fight like that, and then just hearing his like post-fight interviews how he's like, I'm the best, and then at the weigh-in he didn't seem like he was upset that he like missed the weight, and then at the stare downs he like wore glasses, he was like flexing. I do believe it was a strategical move to come in 4 pounds overweight, and uh, that dude, 4 pounds is a lot of water weight to have to cut out. So he was coming in feeling way better than his opponent, more fresh. I believe he just hit him with just some nastiness. Overall, anyway, Manel Cape gets it done. Flying knee. Miles Johns smoked Anderson dos Santos, dude. I don't know how many times like I've like fucking said that. First round too. Did it say first round? No.
Third round.
Third
it
round.
Was like,
oh yeah.
116 in the third.
Dude, what fight did I had like an 11-leg parlay that was still active all the way up until the main event started, dude. I want to say like I could have cashed out like a $1 parlay for like $85 at this point, but the Fiziev fight, no, the Luque fight,
Fiziev fart.
The fart, dude. The fart returns, dude. The fart returns. Anyway,
it's like your favorite word, like
dude,
fart and calling a fight a card. Like that's your go-to, man. Like
I don't know what else to say. Anyway, gets it done. I also had a bet this. I had 2 bets. One was over 2.5, and then like the other one was Miles Johns in the third round or decision. So those both cash. I was like, I was not expecting like them both to cash. Like the where's like the under 2.5 maybe, or I'm not some shit like that. Anyway, I ended up losing both of them, so it don't even fucking matter. But it was crazy, like the timing of it. It was like some people definitely made some money on how that fight ended there. Melissa Gatto, Dr. Stoppage over Victoria Leonardo. I feel like she was about to break her arm in the first round, and I think that's what I guess stopped it. I don't know. Her arm was hurt like I guess midway or halfway through the round or some shit like that, and they fucking stopped it. I want to be honest, I didn't pay too much attention to this fight. And then Johnny Munoz.
I didn't either.
Yeah, Johnny Munoz, rear naked choke over Jamie Simmons. This was my first dub of the night. I was like this was in almost all my parlays. I was like, everyone's saying that I like this guy is gonna like fucking tap this guy out. So I went along with the train. I hopped on the train. I picked Johnny Munoz via sub, and sure enough, that shit happened. So that was the card from what's today now? Sunday. This is the card from last night. You're going to see this Monday. UFC 265. We talked about it. Anything else, man? What's up? What's been going on?
Man, as far as it kind of stinks because going into this weekend, there are no fights. The UFC is going dark this weekend, so I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I am. I know that sometimes you say that.
Now I'm upset.
I was getting to say. I know that you're a guy who really, really likes to have those fight nights on every weekend, regardless if it's not a good card or not. So yeah, the UFC is dark this weekend. So wanted to see, are you going to be, are you going to have a void to fill come Saturday night, considering the fact that there's not going to be any farts on that night?
Dude, when is Gastelum versus Cannoneer.
It's the very next week, so not this Saturday coming
Okay.
up. So so what is it? The 21st, I think.
The
Yeah,
21st.
I just remember John Anik making a comment last night saying that the UFC's off, next weekend, but come right back on the 21st.
That's upsetting. That's upsetting, dude. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know, dude. I enjoy the fight Saturday night. It's like that's just what I do. Like after I get off work Saturdays, because I'm the bum that has to work on Saturdays. For some reason, my schedule is Tuesday through Saturday. So I don't know, dude. After work, I just like to come home, relax, eat some Five Guys, watch the fights, dude. That's my Saturday routine, dude. Every Saturday, that's what I do. So knowing that, I feel like it's been happening a lot lately too.
Hey,
Like
I gave you a heads up. I gave you a heads up.
I know, dude. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Who knows? I might go watch a movie or something like that. What about you, dude?
Yeah. I mean, probably try to find some type of other sports on, because as well as you, always at work on Saturday.
When's
I know some pretty
fucking
football stuff coming back.
what's his name versus Tyron Woodley? Fucking Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley. When's that shit?
Is that actually this coming up weekend?
Is
Is
it?
it?
Is it?
No, I'm asking. I'm asking, is it? Because it is
Uh,
this month, but I cannot remember what day it is. It could possibly be this coming up weekend. I'm not too sure. It's sometime this month though, for sure.
August 29th. It's so far away.
August,
It's a couple weeks.
yeah,
It's a couple weeks from
yeah.
now.
We still got another 2 weeks for that, so that one's going to be fun to see. I know we'll talk about that once that fight gets a little bit closer too. So that'll
Have you
be
been
a
watching
that'll
the Olympics at all?
I've been watching it sparingly. I was watching a little bit of the USA basketball. I've seen the men's was finally able to stop losing as they were earlier in the exhibition games, and was able to get the win. I've seen the women's team as well get the win in basketball. So I've seen a little bit of that. I hadn't been not super into the Olympics this year by any means. And I don't know what it
cannot
is.
stop watching the
I think
wrestling, dude. I don't know what it is about it. Dude, USA, like the wrestling team is just fun to watch because it's like you're just rooting for them. Granted, when did I fucking wrestle? I don't know. Fucking fourth to sixth grade, some shit like that. So it's been a long fucking time, all right? It's been a long time since I fucking strapped on my singlet. But the, the just the point system, like I guess, is just like I don't know how many points are for what. It's just been so long since I've even like watched, but I know you get that takedown, that's 2 points, baby. You fucking sweep the back, that's that third point. Some shit like that. I don't know. So I've just been watching like the Olympics all this past week, just rooting for Team USA. Like my girlfriend's really big in like the fucking track and field, so I've been watching that with her, dude. I found out that there's a thing called race walking, dude. That's the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen in my
I've
life.
seen that, and it's
Yeah.
like I guess they just kind of make anything an Olympic sport now. I even seen where they said I think there's something that's having to pass through, but that they're going to make cornhole
Dude,
an Olympic game.
I saw like horse riding. I'm like, okay, that's where I draw the line at. Like that's the horse. That's the horse. That's not even you at that point. Like that all depends on how the horse is
But the
performing.
breeders,
Yeah,
you gotta get the breeders
it's like
credit.
like there's a few of these like fucking sports that shouldn't be sports. Like curling should not be in the Olympics. I don't care what anyone says. Horse riding should not be in the Olympics. Fucking what else is there that's fucking ridiculous too? Like just
Well, a lot of these sports are just so old, and and they were already like kind of built in the system before all like the new age started coming around. So these were sports that were implemented in a time where they didn't really have too many other
for a
options
couple
as far
years
as
they
putting stuff
took
together.
wrestling out of the Olympics. Like they have shit like race walking and fucking horse riding and curling in the Olympics. but they took out wrestling. Like, come on
Yeah,
now. It's just
it was a little strange, but it's good to see that they do have it back though, and
it
for
was
them
odd
to
seeing it 2020
win Golden Gloves.
everywhere. 2020. It's 2020. It's like,
And I think that's been part of what it is too. And maybe I'm just making excuses. I don't know, but I think my body is so adjusted to the even year schedule as far as the Olympics going. So seeing them when they were supposed to go last year, of course, it's a pandemic, so who the hell can predict that? But to see them going this year, it just doesn't almost doesn't feel right for me to a certain extent. I don't know what it is, but. Yeah, hadn't been as tuned in as I wanted, but I wanted to ask you one thing and just swinging it back to fighting. And I literally just thought about this as we were talking about, different topics and stuff like that. You don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but Chad Mendez to BKFC. Just wanted to get your opinion on that and what BKFC's been doing here lately. They've been getting a lot of, guys that have been leaving, or guys and women, Paige Van Zandt and Rachel Ostovich, for example, people that are leaving the UFC, leaving these big promotions in MMA, and they're deciding to go to bare knuckle boxing. So I think bare knuckle boxing is kind of doing some pretty exciting stuff, and Chad Mendez added to the list. And I just wanted to see your opinion on what you thought about it.
If you're asking if I care too much, I gotta be honest, no. I thought he looked good. Like, I saw, when did I see him? Oh, I saw him like hitting him bag like on Instagram or something like that. Like, I thought he looked good. I mean, to be fair, he got kind of fucking shafted in the UFC, like when he got, I like the suspension over like the lotion or some shit like that. So it's like
skin ointment cream or something like that. And
yeah. It's just like,
what the hell?
Fucking USADA, dude. It's like you catch the people that aren't really doing anything, because if they're doing something, they're going to make sure that they're not going to get caught. For example, I'm sorry, man. Do you know USADA didn't even catch TJ? USADA did not catch TJ. New York State Athletic caught TJ. Just to show that USADA is fucking pointless, because all they do is catch the people that aren't really trying to do anything. It's just the low-hanging fruit. Anyway, I'm not going to get started on that shit. Anyway, I hope Chad Mendez does good. He looked good. He's pretty much always had rather clean hands. He looked fast. Like, so that's a plus. But aside from that, good luck, Chad. Anything else, dude?
I don't know, man. I'm actually looking forward to kind of getting on some KO City if you're down.
Right. Cool. Yeah, I'm down. USA has 113 medals, 39 of them being gold medals. The number one ranked gold medal in the world right now. And the Olympic just now closed, because my girlfriend's been watching this closing ceremony for like fucking 2 hours. Like, how long is this? Can we just get it over with?
End this shit already, please.
Yeah. All right. Same for that. Same for this. This is the Golden Octagon. We'll catch you next time. Stay golden.
Subscribe to the channel,
please. Yeah, subscribe to the channel. Hit the thumbs up. All that shit. We'll catch you next time. Stay golden.